In what is being touted as one of the biggest diplomatic meetings of the year, U.S. President Donald Trump is all set to hold talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea on the sidelines of the APEC summit. Beijing has confirmed that President Xi is on course to meet Trump in South Korea, while China has said that both leaders will have in-depth talks on major issues. President Trump has reportedly said he expects his meeting with Xi on Thursday to last up to 4 hours.
Head of state diplomacy plays an irreplaceable strategic guiding role in China-U.S. relations. During this meeting, the two presidents will engage in in-depth communication on strategic and long-term issues concerning China-U.S. relations, as well as major topics of mutual concern. We are willing to make joint efforts with the United States to ensure the meeting produces positive outcomes and to provide fresh guidance and new impetus for the stable development of China-U.S. relations. We will release details on the meeting in due course.
This will be the first time that the U.S. president will meet his Chinese counterpart since starting his second term. Both leaders are expected to talk following months of escalating tensions between both countries. The world's two biggest economies have been locked in a trade war since early this year, as disputes over tariffs, technology and market access remain unresolved, the impact of which is being felt worldwide. Even as analysts ponder and speculate that trade remains the central pillar and a flashpoint of the meeting, the leaders are likely to touch base on a host of issues. A prominent bone of contention is the rare earth minerals. Earlier, the United States and China had threatened to halt trade involving rare earths. Rare earths, a strategic sector dominated by China, is vital to defense, automotive and electronics manufacturing. Beijing imposed sweeping export controls on the materials early this month, prompting Trump to threaten 100% retaliatory tariffs on Chinese goods. It remains to be seen if Trump manages to convince Xi to lift curbs on rare earth exports, restart American farm imports, and grant American firms a bigger foothold in China. Next are soybeans. American farmers have traditionally depended on China to buy about a quarter of the soybeans they produce. But China has stopped buying American soybeans this year, choosing to use Brazilian and Argentinian suppliers instead. The talks are expected to untangle some knots there and bring relief to farmlands. Also, as part of their talks could be Taiwan, a self-governed island that deeply impacts U.S. China ties. Beijing views Taiwan as a breakaway province that must eventually be reunified by force if necessary, while Taipei, which has long enjoyed strong unofficial support from Washington, sees that backing is a crucial safeguard for its security and international standing, particularly amid China's growing military and diplomatic pressure. For Washington, the popular youth video app embodies long-standing concerns about data security and potential state influence. I'm talking about TikTok. However, for Beijing, it represents resistance to what it sees as the politicization of trade and technology. Let's talk to our correspondent, Susan Tehrani, who's now joining us live from New York. Susan, hi, it's good to see you. Time and the clock is ticking. This is a much anticipated meeting between President Trump and President Xi Jinping. What is Washington saying, and is it green for go?
Wise words, Eric. Well, Washington is saying that they are going to have a fruitful meeting. That's no secret. There are going to be definitely headlines and victory laps, notably when it comes to TikTok and some other tech issues. But behind closed doors, Washington is concerned, as you talked about, the soybean issue. China has not purchased soybean since the beginning of the year because of the threats of tariffs and the tariffs that are in place since the Trump administration began its work for the second time. And China is America's biggest buyer of soybeans. So those farmers are going to be watching very closely. And then it's the issue of the rare earths. the rare earth minerals and sort of the monopoly that China has on these rare earths is really concerning for the United States. There's going to be talk, of course, about the tariffs. The devil's going to be in the details. I think we'll try to see, and read between the lines if anything is reached regarding the tariffs, what it is, to what extent is it, is the 100% tariff that President Trump wants to impose on China completely off the table? And also regarding rare earth licensing, for example, is this going to be something we'll wait and see, or is it really going to be a 1-year delay, as both sides have alluded to? And then, of course, it's the issue of drugs and fentanyl. Again, when it comes to the issue of fentanyl, because the precursors come from China to Mexico and then to the United States, that's another aspect that the two sides can possibly, pin some victories on. But the agriculture issue, the soybean issue, the rare earth mineral issue, front and center. Of course, the tariffs for China, front and center as well.
Well, President Trump has already predicted the timeline of their meeting. He says that the meeting is going to last for up to 4 hours. What else did the president say about this purported or expected meeting?
Yeah, President Trump knows how important this meeting is. He knows he'll have an audience here back home, as does President Xi back home as well. He knows it's important, and he knows that there's a lot of expectation. So on the one hand, there's a lot of importance. On the other hand, there's a lot of expectation. Whether that being good or bad, the president thinks that he's going to come out of this meeting, happy and happy on both sides. And China seems to be looking for mutual respect when it comes to dealing with the United States. Again, these are all very lofty goals. They're lofty words considering the history of these two competitors, really. I mean, they're really racing when we're talking right now. It's going to be interesting to see how both sides frame it and what concrete resolutions come out of this meeting.
Mm-hmm. October 30th, 2025. Will it be a turning point for the United States and China, or will the status quo remain? We'll have to wait and see. Tomorrow is D-Day for both the United States and China. Susan Tehran, it's good to see you. We'll have to end it there. Thank you.